Hi, I'm Victoria Gonzalez, and this is my oral presentation for Drama 70. I'm going to be comparing for you today two films, a film that we watched for class, Jeremiah Johnson, and a film of my own choice, Dirty Harry. Jeremiah Johnson is a film that was released in 1972, and it was directed by Sidney Pollack, and it stars Robert Redford as Jeremiah Johnson. It's the story of a man who, he was a soldier from war, and he's tired of living in civilization with all its rules, and he wants to live his life as a mountain man. He wants to be free to live life as he pleases. But he's not very experienced. He's very new at it. And so he relies on the help of some characters that he meets along the way to help guide him and kind of show him the ropes of what you need to do to be able to survive in that type of environment. Dirty Harry is the story of Dirty Harry Callahan. He's an inspector for the San Francisco PD, and he's on the hunt for the Scorpio Killer. I loved this movie. Clint Eastwood is badass as Dirty Harry, and in his role, he is so confident and calm, and he's very sure of himself. He could pretty much do his job while he's sleeping. He's a veteran in his field, and you can see it. So I'm going to share with you some similarities and differences between the two films, like mainly with the characters. Both of the characters, Dirty Harry and Jeremiah Johnson, are kind of like loner types. Although at times they do rely on the help of others to get them through some situations, they do prefer to be on their own. Jeremiah Johnson, he goes out into the wilderness alone, but he would not have been able to survive without his friend, without Bear Claw showing him the ropes of how to hunt and how to keep warm. And when it came to his friend that he meets, Del Yu, he shows them kind of the culture and the ways of the Indians, and pretty much keeps them from getting killed, like in the situation where Jeremiah is being given a gift of marriage to the chief's daughter, Swan, and he's like, oh, no, thank you. And Del Yu tells him basically, like, you need to shut up. Like, this is going to happen or they are going to kill us. Like, it's not a choice. And Jeremiah Johnson doesn't have any understanding of that way of life, of the Indians' way of life, until he until he is with Swan, and she kind of teaches him all about it, and then he has a better understanding of how great spirituality is to the Indians and their culture. As far as Dirty Harry goes, he prefers to work alone, and I think it's just because he wants to do things his own way, and he doesn't want another person getting in the way of him getting his task done, I guess. So in one scene, what was it? I don't know. It's like his boss, he tells Harry, you have a new partner, and he's like, what? Like, why do I need a partner for? I already have one. And then his boss says that he's in the hospital, like, you need a new partner, and he says, I don't have time to be training some rookie. But he doesn't have a choice. Like, the guy's his partner, and the guy's name is Gonzalez, and he actually ends up saving Harry's life in one of the scenes. He saves his life. The Scorpio Killer is about to shoot Harry, and Gonzalez comes through and shoots at the Scorpio Killer for saving Harry's life. Another similarity in the two films are kind of the theme of rules. So Harry Callahan, he's an inspector, so he's supposed to, abide by the law. He's supposed to uphold the law. He works for the police department, but he has his own way of doing things, even though he knows the way his bosses want things to be done, or the people that are higher up above him. He knows what he needs to do to get his job met in order to catch the killer. Like, there's a situation where the Scorpio Killer is asking for $100,000, and then the mayor says, oh, I need more time to collect this money. And Harry says, are you kidding me? Like, do I hear you right? You're going to play this creep's game? Like, right off, and that's in the beginning of the movie, and he knows, like, no, he's going to kill more people if you just, basically, if you're giving him more time, he just wants to go out and catch the guy. So he has his own way of doing things despite the law that he's supposed to be upholding. But his main goal is, you know, just protecting the citizens. He cares about protecting the citizens, no matter how he has to do it, pretty much. So in Jeremiah Johnson, regarding rules, the Indians, so after Jeremiah is married with Swan and she teaches him about, you know, the Indian customs and things like that, there's a scene where Jeremiah is taking some the Reverend and his group of people to go rescue a stranded wagon that is in the snow, and basically these people are going to freeze to death, and they come upon the sacred Indian burial ground, and Jeremiah says, we have to go around. We can't go through that. And the Reverend's like, are you kidding me? People are going to die. And you can tell that Jeremiah, he knows, like, I should not be doing this. This is not okay, because he knows now how important and sacred those type of spaces are to the Indians. And he ignores his instincts and what he knows he should be doing, you know, the rules, the way of life. For the Indians, he knows that he's going against that, and he goes to the burial ground anyways, and I don't know if it's like bad luck or what, but then his wife and his son are killed, and I don't know. Okay, so what else? So yeah, so that's rules. They each have their own way of doing things despite the rules that they should be following in their and where they're at. So I'm going to talk about some differences now. Some differences between the two movies are the settings. Those are the main differences. Jeremiah Johnson takes place in the Utah wilderness, in the wild, and Dirty Harry takes place in the big city in San Francisco. So with each of those different environments, they meet different dilemmas. Jeremiah, he faces, you know, freezing cold, the risk of getting attacked by animals, and then there's the whole the Indian culture and their way of life, and, you know, the way they do things. And basically he has to protect himself from all these outside environmental factors. And in Dirty Harry, he's the protector. He's the one protecting the people of this big city from the bad guys. There's a scene where he comes across a bank robbery, and the robber comes out, and Dirty Harry, he just walks out like so calm and cool, right at the guy, pointing his gun at him, and the robber goes to shoot him, and Harry shoots him first, and there's people everywhere. There's pedestrians everywhere. He could have easily shot someone, but that's one of the environmental factors of his job. There's people all around in a big city. When he's on the hunt for the killer, you know, it's nighttime. They're running through buildings. He has to run through the subway station and through tunnels, all kinds of things. So they both have their risks, but just the environments and the settings are just so different. But they each have, you know, risks involved. Another difference is what each character is seeking. In Jeremiah Johnson, he has a, you know, personal vendetta towards the Crows for murdering his wife and his adopted son Caleb. After, you know, he finally was finding love. He didn't want a child, he didn't want a wife, he wanted to be alone in the beginning of this film, yet he gets a wife, he gets a son, and you can tell that he's really happy. He's happy with that, and it gets taken away from him, and he's just so hurt, and he makes it his goal just to basically kill off the Crows for what they did to him and his family. And in in Dirty Harry, Harry is after, what he's seeking is the killer. He wants that Scorpio killer dead. His higher-ups are saying, like, oh no, there's like 3 different situations where they're gonna give him what he wants, and Harry just has enough, and he's like, you know what, no, like, find someone else to do this for you. And I don't want to give anything away, but he ends up doing things his own way, and you'll see if you watch the movie that it works for him. And Yeah, so he's seeking that Scorpio killer. He wants to kill him so he can protect the citizens because that's his job. So that's my presentation. And if any of you haven't seen Dirty Harry, I highly suggest that movie. It was so cool, and I will tell you, I'm going to be watching all the rest of them because, like I said, not Harrison Ford, Clint Eastwood is badass. He was like born to play that guy, I think. So watch it. Watch it if you get a chance. And everybody have a happy holiday season. Thank you. Bye.